All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Alpha Omega Biz Dev Podcast. So this is the podcast if you are a business owner and specifically a small business owner or an entrepreneur. This is a podcast that will give you insight, strategies, tips, real life knowledge on how you can better your business and get it to the next level. So I am Dr. John Lee. I have a practice in Southern California. I'm a chiropractor. Very successful practice for over 20 years. Also have a consulting business where I teach chiropractors how to also have their dream practice with their own business. So let's get into today's topic, which is the age-old topic of when is the best time to start my biz or my business? Is there a right time? Now, some of you might instantly be jumping to an answer that yes, there is, or no, there isn't. And I think there is a right and wrong answer. And a lot of it has to do with my own journey in becoming a business owner. So the myth that has been out there for a long time, and this is usually going to come from people who are, already wildly successful. These are, influencers typically on the internet, on social media or YouTube. And what are they typically going to answer? If they are asked a question like this from, say, just an average person that's trying to get things going, who doesn't have a lot of money, that typical answer from a uber highly successful person is that they should just jump into it, right? You should just have the courage and just dive right into it. And yes, there is some validity to that, advice and some good to that advice, but I think there's a lot of bad to that advice. I think that's actually overall bad advice. And, I think a lot of you would probably agree that, most of us watching, this kind of information on the internet, that, if you're in tune with reality and the real world, it's not just as easy as just dreaming up a wish that I want to become a business owner, I want to become a millionaire and become wildly successful in business and whatever, genre or topic. And then if I just will it, it's going to happen. For a very, very, small percentage that are very lucky, that had all the stars aligned, yes, maybe that will happen. Okay. But I think for the vast majority of us human beings that have to go through everyday life struggles and challenges of, just personal life, our own personal health, relationships, all the schooling we have to go to, finances, that it's typically a journey, right? And there is actually a right time and place to commit to starting a business. I think, again, for the small percentage that are very fortunate, and it could be if, hey, your parents, your grandparents, maybe generations before you, there's generational wealth, and you are in a position where, you were born into not having to ever worry about money. And if you want to start a business, of course, snap your fingers and you want to start up a such and such business or whatever kind of business, of course, you can, dream it up and dive right into it. Right? Like if, say, LeBron James, right? Mega rich, sports athlete, he has multiple businesses. And if he wanted to open up another one today or tomorrow, he could. Why? Because he's got the millions of dollars to, to back it up, probably billions of dollars at this point. But again, most of us human beings, average Joes, we don't have that luxury. So we do really have to kind of pay attention to some basics before starting a business. So I kind of wanted to just really handle that myth, right there in the beginning first, because again, if you, scour the internet, if you research the internet with this kind of question, when is the right time? There's a lot of kind of rah people out there that would just say, yeah, just whatever you want, just jump into it. You want to do it today, do it tomorrow. Have the balls. Don't be afraid. Don't be chicken. Right? But that could be some real terrible advice, because what if that person invests whatever remaining amount of money they have in their bank, or they go borrow it, they go dive right into business and it fails, right? Because they didn't have what it takes, right? But you got to understand, a lot of these people on the internet, they're doing things out of kind of excitement and They want to pump you up. They want to motivate and inspire you, get you to follow them, follow their lead. And, of course, a few success stories will happen from their advice, their blanket advice. But I think probably the general masses, if they follow that kind of advice and they just said, yes, I want to do a business today, boom, high percentage are going to fail, unfortunately. So let's talk about some of the true basics, right? So what is the truth when it comes to starting a business? What are the basics that you really need to make a smart decision that, yes, now it is a good time to start my business or my dream? And I think those three are the following. One, you need to have enough new clients or new business. I'm a chiropractor, so for us it'd be new patients. Do you have enough new patients or know how to get new patients through marketing techniques and strategies and understanding and knowledge, so that wherever you set up shop, right? So if this is going to be a brick and mortar shop, like a chiropractic clinic or a restaurant or a bakery or sandwich shop or a retail store, do you know how to get new clients? Because the thing that you don't want is to open up a brick and mortar shop, get everything beautifully set up. It's going to, usually cost a lot of money for a build out of a space, which will either totally deplete whatever funds you saved up, or you're going to have to get a business loan for that kind of stuff. Or it's built into a long-term lease with, say, a landlord, but you're paying for that, monthly, for those kinds of tenant improvements. So before you open up your shop, you have to understand, is there going to be new business? Because you can't do all that planning, investment, tenant improvements, open a shop, and then it's crickets, right? So number one is already having a steady flow of new business or new clients or new patients, if you're in healthcare, is the first primary kind of check, bullet point that you need. The next is, are you good at your service that you actually deliver? So for me, as a chiropractor, we deliver several things: chiropractic adjustments, different therapies. We examine patients. We take x-rays, we analyze, and then we see patients ongoing. And so are we going to be good at that service? If you're a chiropractor doctor, are you going to be good at that service? Are you already good at that? And do you just naturally have referrals that kind of build off of that good service and good reputation that you create? And then, so that's number two. You have to be good at your service, because if you're bad at your service and you don't even really know what you're doing when it comes to delivering your service, then you're going to have a problem there. Okay. So, your customers will not come back. Your patients will not come back. Your patients will not refer. So you have to really feel confident that, I've got such a great service. I'm delivering such a good product that it is time to open up my own business and, really scale this and grow this. So that's number two, good at your service. Number three is, and this is where a lot of people don't really pay attention to it, and they just kind of dive head first into doing a business, is some level of business understanding. Okay. And this is something that, again, most people just don't have any knowledge, and it's not their fault, because this is not something that typically comes with most college curriculums. Like if you say you major in biology, right? They don't throw a business course in there. If you say you want to become a psychologist, in your psychology degree training, they don't throw a business degree in there or course or accreditation in there, right? Same for me as a chiropractor going through a 4-year schooling of chiropractic. There was literally at the very end, I think, one class we had that gave us real basics, but nothing that would be good enough for us to translate that into real life practice or business application. All that for me came after school. Okay. So if, you don't really have any understanding of how to keep your books, how to do your accounting, how to, set up electronic system for tracking your patients or your clients and ledgers and payments and bills, you don't know how to set up departments of a business. You're not sure how to organize team and staff meetings and trainings. You're not sure how to hire people. All this you have to actually learn and acquire these skills before you open up your business. And a lot of people make the mistake of learning that stuff on the fly. And that can get a business owner in a lot of trouble because a lot of mistakes will typically be made. Okay, so just to kind of summarize that, the 3 basics or the 3 essentials that you really need to feel that you're in a good place to start a business with a much lower risk of failure and higher chance of success is 1, new clients or new business or new patients in healthcare. 2, good at your service rocks. And 3, some level of business understanding, okay? Which is, I promise you have to acquire that elsewhere. So let me share with you my journey on how I went about this, right? Because, I wasn't, I have a wildly successful practice, chiropractic practice now, but it wasn't always that way. It definitely was a journey and a build up to that. And a lot of hard work, literally, that saying blood, sweat, and tears, that was it. I put that in with my team for many years to build it up to what it is today. I didn't, I wasn't born into a chiropractic business. No one in my family were chiropractors. So I literally learned it, on my own. And, on my other podcast, the first one, I talked about, or the first episode, I talked about having the vulnerability to ask for help. And so one day it finally clicked after floundering. And once I realized I need to start asking for a lot of help from a lot of people, that's when it really took off for me. Okay. So for me, it was a journey. It was from learning from other people. But in the beginning, straight out of school, right? Because, I didn't come from wealthy families. So it wasn't like my family was going to say, hey, here's a bunch of money and open up your shop, right? Which would have been a big mistake anyways, because I didn't know what I was doing at that point, right? So what did I do? I sought out a job called an associateship, and you can kind of think of it as an apprenticeship. A lot of people are familiar with that term. So kind of like a carpenter learns how to be a carpenter from a older, more experienced carpenter, and they apprentice or train under them or get under the wing for a while. Get paid probably very little, but learn a lot is a trade-off. So I did something like that for 2 years. And it was essential for me to really be exposed to the day in, day out flow and all the things that happened in a chiropractic office. Mostly clinically, I needed to see how you handle patients, but also what happened with marketing. I got sent out to a ton of marketing events. They're called spinal screenings. And, just kind of watching my boss and how he conducted himself in his meeting and his business, I learned a lot just by watching him. And then after that, for 2 years, then I went out to be an independent contractor. So that's fairly common in the world of chiropractic, where it's an easier, safer way to get your business going without having to really, opening up your own shop, right? Your own brick and mortar business. And basically you're just going to rent a space, rent a room, or rent a portion of another doctor or chiropractor's clinic. And you're typically responsible for figuring out how to get your own business and new clients and maintaining them, but you can use some of their staff and their facilities and their rooms and their extra equipment. So that's what I did for 3 years after my first associateship for 2 years. And this was probably the best thing that I did. And so if you're a young chiropractor, whether you're in chiropractic college or you're in that first year, second year, maybe you are an associate now, and you're wondering, okay, should my next move be open my own business, my own office? I'd highly encourage you to become an independent contractor first, then open up your own office. Okay, I think only a select few are talented enough and skilled enough to go from associateship to business owner and have success. You're going to have a higher chance of success if you go from associateship to independent contractor and then business owner with your own office. Okay. And that was my journey. That was my safe journey. So what I did was, by my third year of being an independent contractor and sharing that space with another chiropractor, in that third year, which is when I got my first business consultant coach and really turned things around, it just kind of really took off and my numbers started to explode. So a lot more patients, a lot more collections and income was coming in. But then, and also during that time, I really got very good at getting new patients. So one, I had, out of those three essentials that you need to start your own business, I had one nailed down. New clients. I knew how to get new clients repeatedly every week from an outside gym spinal screening event. Two, I was becoming pretty good at my service, I would say. I was getting patients who would refer others and give me really good positive feedback. And then three, because I consulted and hired a coach, I was starting to learn that business understanding, that level of business operations that I needed to learn. Okay, so those three essentials, I had them. And now I was ready to make that jump or that leap to actually signing a lease, asking for a build out, a tenant improvement, committing to a 5-year lease of my own office, my own brick and mortar location. So that was, for a chiropractor at that point, I was seeing about 110 visits a week, I believe. And new patients, were not a problem at all. I was getting more new patients than I needed at that time. I actually needed more space to be able to accommodate new patients that I was actually getting for my marketing events. I was also doing Google AdWords at the time. Very easy to do it on your own. This is many years ago. So then, that for me, that was my right time. Okay, that was the perfect time. That was, really a necessity at my point to get my own office because I had outgrown my independent contractor arrangement. So if that can be of any value to you, right, from a chiropractor who's been there, done that, still doing it, the best advice I can give you is based on my own journey and my own positive experience. I've been through ups and downs, but my path was very, very clear in the beginning that I was not going to be able to just open up a shop. Wasn't ready, didn't understand business, wasn't great at my service yet, and just didn't have the funds, right? And so once I established all those things, I was definitely ready. And if you have that intuition or gut feeling, and also I had a business advisor finally at that time that told me, hey, this is the right time. This is when we make that transition for you to open up your own business. And I did. In that first year, this was 2008. This is actually the year of the housing market recession in the U.S. when you're not supposed to open up a business, and we did, and didn't phase us. Our first year, 2008, we hit the gate running, and we had an amazingly successful first year, and then from there, just every year we kept on growing, a little bit more every year, a little bit more every year, a little bit more every year. Never had a down year since 2008. And I think it's because I was fortunate enough to really pick the right time to start my own business. Okay. So again, if you're one of the fortunate ones to already have a boatload of money ready to go and you're just kind of bored and you want to start up a business, like any kind of business you want, go for it. You're very blessed, to be in that position. And I do wish you success, with whatever you choose to do. But, if for the, majority of you, I would believe that are watching this, that want to start a business or another business and wondering if it's the right time, hopefully the information that I share with you on this episode will help you, right? Yes, there is a right time. And there are 3 essentials that you need to have checked off the list before you make that decision to start your own business, okay? Not just a matter of snapping your fingers and just saying, yes, let's do it today, or else you have that higher chance of failure, which, I don't want for you or anybody. You want to succeed. We all want to succeed in life and support our families and live a long, happy, healthy life, obviously. So that's going to wrap it up for this podcast episode. And tune in to the next one We're going to keep coming with different topics and strategies and tips and advice, and hopefully this will add value to you and your business of whatever type it is. And if you are a chiropractor, obviously, if you need any business consulting or advice, reach out, Alpha Omega Consulting, and I'd be happy to help. All right, we'll catch you in the next one.